before we start, I just want to say, wow, we have reached the last episode of season 1 of The Simpsons. Like, that is crazy. We have reached the last episode of season 1. How crazy. All I want to say is just crazy. And what a crazy, very crazy episode of the last episode of season 1. And again, I haven't started season 2 yet, but I am soon. I will be starting season 2 soon. But yeah, we have reached the last season 1 episode. And it's an interesting one. So the episode starts with the family eating breakfast, I'm guessing. The kids fighting over a donut. Homer ends up getting the donut. The kids having to rush to school, and Marjorie pretty much telling them to get their lunchbox, but they got money. Homer's late, and he just doesn't kiss Marjorie. Yeah. So it turns out that it's just Maggie and her again. All alone again. And she hears an ad that talks about problems. So she describes her problems. And Homer wants to hear the show. Tells his fellow workers to turn it up. And yeah, things go pretty crazy for Homer, I can just say. Marjorie talks about how Homer was much sweeter. He had a full pair of hair. Yeah. And they tell her, once he gets home, go up to him and tell him what you want to say, pretty much. And of course, Homer is very worried. So Bart, Lisa are pretty much doing their practical jokes, of course, of saying a name at the bar, and yeah. Homer is there saying that he may not be able to go back home because Marjorie's going to get onto him. With his fellow friends, do give him the advice. Give him some good advice, like getting some flowers. So Marjorie is just standing at the door waiting for Homer. The kids are basically wanting some dinner. She does a really creepy growl face at them. They scream. And yeah. He eventually comes home trying to say the right words. He opens the door, and they eventually make out. More prank calling. And Homer says that he got them reservations at a expensive hotel. And he forgot the important thing, a babysitter. Which, no problem, Marjorie calls, and they go to this really weird babysitting place, which it turns out that they have some problems with The Simpsons, which Homer does end up pretending that they are a different family name so they can get a babysitter. And Lisa and Marjorie are just talking, and Homer and Bart is just dancing and singing. Eventually, the babysitter comes. Yes, the babysitter comes. And Homer and Marjorie tell their kids bye, and the babysitter is like, all the kids that she did actually did what she told them to do, which Bart does put in the tape. At the restaurant, Homer is looking at some crabs that they want to eat, which they go to their table, and Bart turns on a horror kind of show, which is about crimes, and yeah, things are working out for Homer and Marjorie, for sure. And then we hear about this tragic story about two kids. And then Marjorie and Homer dance. The kids are getting terrified, and it turns out that there's a babysitter bandit. And it just so happens to be the exact same babysitter that is in their house. Yep. And she has a rope and is going to tie up Lisa and Bart. Which Lisa tries to call for help, but doesn't end up going so well. They do miss the turn to the hotel, but they'll pull out at the next stop. The babysitter is looking for Bart. And yeah, she's very vicious. He tries to drop a bowling ball on top of her, but ends up getting caught. Lisa is just terrified. Like, they are really in a bad situation. The babysitter is actually a babysitter bandit, a criminal. And they're just trying to make it out alive, which she gets caught too. And they eventually make it to their room with a waterbed. Homer hits his foot, of course. And Lisa and Bart end up getting tied up. And the babysitter puts some tape over Bart's mouth. And Homer and Marjorie, of course, make out. Maggie wakes up, says what is going on. Bart just hitting his head because he can't stand the sew. But the sew went off, and Lisa tells Maggie if she wants to watch more of the sew again, to untie her first. Which we see the parents make out, of course. And then Maggie comes to the babysitter. She comes over and ends up getting hit in the head and knocked out with a baseball bat, and they tie her up. And then they want to call home, but nobody's answering. Lisa then calls in, and there's a reward, which Homer and Marjorie comes home, and they see the babysitter is all tied up and has a piece of tape on her mouth and tells them to turn the TV off. And yeah, basically Homer untied a criminal. Yes. And she gets away. The SWAT team comes, and he pretty much says what he did on the entire television. Way to go, Homer. You let a dangerous babysitter bandit criminal free. That your kids were in trouble by. And Homer is like, I can't believe I'm not that smart. Which Marjorie then comes to tell Homer that of how how brave their kids are of being able to do all this stuff. Like, knock out a stranger that's trying to get them and basically tie them like that. Which they make out, which they want to make out again, and the episode ends. Again, a very crazy episode to end off the first season. Now, if y'all are wondering, how would I rank the first season? What would I rank season 1? Since we have completed the first season, what would I rank season 1? I loved all the episodes of the first season. But if I would have to say, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I would just say a 10 out of 10 for the first season. There was no episodes I did not like. I loved all the episodes of the first season. And I'm excited to see how the second season goes and the future seasons go. But yeah, like I said, I'll be starting this next season very soon. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure notifications turned on so you don't miss anything new. And let me know what y'all think. Catch you on next.